Hey everyone, this is Stacy with SF Johnson Consulting and Construction Services going over now our structural set for the smaller location. Okay, so remember this is an existing location. The only one was new was the real big one, the Brunswick, the very first one. This is in Akron, Ohio, and this is a renovation of an existing building. So what they're doing here in the existing, they're going in install new exhaust fans, a new rooftop unit, and the associated condensing unit. Okay, and so when they do that, basically we're going to be either replacing probably existing units. I'm not quite sure, but uh, hmm, got to think back if these were all we were replacing existing units. So what we always have to do, this is the structural set. That's where we find the roof framing, because structural is it's a single story building, so the roof is part of the structural set. And so anytime we put a hole in a structural member, when I say hole, I mean we could put a door in, right? We put a door in the exterior walls, our structural members, meaning it holds the building up. And so anytime we put a hole or an opening in a structural component, we have to shore it up by structural members, right? And when we say members, that's just a technical term for a 2x4, a beam, a column. Those are members. Okay, and so what we have to do for this one is basically add L frame beams, 4x4 by a quarter, along each side at all the new openings. Because again, anytime we um, open up a structural component, we weaken the roof basically. And so, in order to give the roof the strength back that we took out by chopping out a few of the roof joists, we have to give it back with our beams that it's telling us to do. So, a couple of things. Typical is what we use when we want to let the contractor know we're doing the same thing to everything here, but we don't want to keep typing this over at every location. And so let me turn off the basically what this is telling us is that we're installing this 4x4 by a quarter L frame where everywhere we see this symbol, this broken line. And so wherever we see that, we know we're doing the same thing. So that's why we use typical. Otherwise, you would have to rewrite all of this, put it here, right? Put it here, put it here. So remember, anytime you see typical, it's based on what the symbol or what the thing looks like. And every time it looks like this, or if it looks like that, we're going to do the same operation to that. And so at every one of these pieces of a mechanical equipment, we're going to attach those beams. And so one thing I wanted to point out in how we do the math to determine, because we got to do material quantity, so we measured all of those, and those about, I think in total, like 200 and something feet. And then we have to attach them using one on each side. Okay, L beams, a 1/2 by a 1.5 by 3/16 that length, and that's how we're going to attach it. And so that is about a 1.5 piece of that is where we attach it here and there. And so you want to be able to determine not only how many linear feet of this, which we've easily determined, but how many linear feet of this you're going to need. And so you're always going to want to know what the placement is, and the placement is every 4 inches. And so what we'll do is measure in total how many total linear feet. Like I said, it came up to like 200 and something. We change those feet into inches by multiplying by 12. And then we divide by the placement, which is 4 inches. And so that tells us how many times we have to put that piece there. Then however many times we have to do it. And this would This would account because we did the total length for both sides. So however many times we'd have to do it times 1.5 linear feet, and that would tell us how many linear feet of this we need. So that works whether it's studs, nails, anything. If you have to put something at a particular placement, meaning you have to put it every 18 inches, 24 inches, 12 inches, 8 inches, 3 inches, whatever, you get however many linear feet in total, change those feet to inches, and then divide by the placement. 18 inches, 24 inches. That tells you how many times you have to place it. And then if it's a particular length, then you say, well, that many times 5 feet, 1.5 feet, whatever. A lot of times for your rebar, you have to place like a 4-foot dowel every 18 inches at the corners of the slab. So that's how you do that, right? All right. So that's all we had to do for this one. And then, okay, remember how we determine when we have a beam. Let's see. And we had to do the paint booth. We did that before. See, that's kind of what I'm talking about when you have a dowel is 4 feet and you have to place it every 8 inches. Well, I want to determine how many linear feet of number 5 rebar I need, or in this case, okay, continuous, that just tells us, right, it just goes all the way down. So if I have 100 feet, it's 100 feet of that or whatever, right? But the placement, that's different, right? Each way, and the thing about this, when it's each way and it's the same thing, do it one way, multiply by 2, it'll be the same as doing it each way, even if it's different lengths. Even if it's not a square, somehow that still works out that way. It has for me. Yeah, I think it does. Or maybe it's all been squares, but try it for yourself. So it's the same. If you had 25 by 4, right? 25 by 4, and you had to place it every 8 inches. So let's work on this. 25 times 12, that gives us inches, and we had to place it every 8 inches. We divide by 8. That would tell us how many placements. So if that's 25 by 4, it'd be that many placements times what? 4 feet. So, you do studs the same way. It's easier when it's studs. Think about studs, right? If you got a 100-foot wall and you got to place it every 24 inches, then that's 50 placements, and you got 10-foot studs, so that's 50 times 10. It makes it kind of easier to think about it when it's studs. All right, so I think for this, this is really the only structural part for this one was everything at the roof framing. So let's look at the section view though real quick and see. 2 over S01. This is, okay, no. 2. Wait a minute. What's the page? What is it again? Am I missing a page? 2 over S001. Okay, that's the first one. 2. Okay. And so, yeah, that's here. The masonry lintel. And the lintel is here. And lintel is just like a beam, but that's what they use for, it's a technical term for like the steel one. It's like a steel beam. They call it a lintel. So it's pretty much the same. Okay, and so remember, when we're doing cost booking, the W beams, I beams, L beams, C beams, it is the second digit that helps us determine what we need for our estimate. And I believe I got this one up. I think I do. Or if I don't, we'll open it. And this is this one. Right, so our fabricated metals. Okay, here we go. W 16 by 36, we have 32 linear feet of that. So we say 32 times the 36, that gives us how many pounds, because the fabricated metals are priced by the pound. Okay, so it's $5,000 for that. Okay, so that's the only thing. And then usually the L beams that are like 1.5 inch by 1/4 inch by 3/16. Usually they price those in the cost book by the linear foot. So you can get, it's like $28, anywhere from 14 to 28 to $32 a linear foot for those smaller ones. But for these that you have to get made, just go by that formula. The second digit determines how many pounds per linear foot, and then you measure how many linear feet, and that gives you how many pounds. So, and that is it for this one. And we will be going on to many of the others, trying to get this finished, not only for you, but for the client, so they can see, make sure, everything we did with the takeoff is complete. And that's how we like to do it, because people are too busy to be sitting around talking. And so we give them this so they can review it on their time. And if there's something we missed, or they can let us know. And hopefully not, usually not, but you never know. Everybody's human. So, you look at something 3 or 4 times, especially when you got a bad set of plans. You're like, oh, I think I should add that. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Especially you always want to put what you see on the set, nothing in addition to that. Or if you're good and something's missing that should be there, then yeah, you add it and you add a note, that kind of thing. All right, so if you have any questions, email me at education@sfjohnsonconsulting.com. Otherwise, I will see you at the next class or the next video or whatever. Talk to you soon.